Hey guys, I'm a ghost. Not really. This is just my rugged and dapper face cream that I'm partially using to conceal the remainder of my shingles. Speaking of ghosts, I wanted to talk to you guys about a little movie that I saw last night called Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, let me preface this video by saying two things. Number one, I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. I've been one since I was a kid. I've seen both movies ad nauseum. I collected the toys. I had a strap on proton pack for crying out loud. And the second thing I want to say is that this movie is going to be divided into two sections, this review rather. So the first half is going to be spoiler free, and the second half is going to have spoilers. I'm going to warn you when the spoilers are coming, and then you'll have a chance to stop the video if you haven't seen the movie yet. Okay, so here is the spoiler free section. This movie had no business being as good as it actually was. I was pleasantly surprised. I came in with very low expectations, in no small part because of the disaster that was the 2016 Ghostbusters reboot, but also because I really wasn't impressed with the trailer at all. It showed very little of the movie, and what it did show was kind of lame. It really gave off kind of like a Ghostbusters Junior vibe to it. It only showed like a couple of shots of like some kids on Ecto 1, and it teased the return of somebody from the original films, but that was it. And I kind of went into this film expecting it to be a disaster, and it wasn't. In fact, not only was it not disaster, it was a pretty damn good movie. So, first of all, I like the cast. Phil Wolfhard is in it from Stranger Things, but he's actually not the lead. The lead, I don't remember the actress's name. I think it's like McKenna something. She was great. I think that she's going to go on to be a big star. Paul Rudd is in this, and I'm going to leave it at that for now. I thought the movie, it was funny. I thought that it was entertaining, like from an actions perspective. I also had a surprising amount of heart. I was actually not expecting to get emotional during this movie, but the last 15 minutes left me a little misty eyed, uh, to be honest. And I don't get that way with most movies at all, let alone with a Ghostbusters movie. I didn't expect to get emotional, but um, it definitely pulled at my heartstrings. So I'm going to say that, yes, if you are a Ghostbusters fan, see this movie. It is definitely for you. It has a lot of nostalgia, but it doesn't like just like bombard you with it to the point where it's overwhelming, where it feels like it's cynical. It toes the line just right between being a callback, having Easter eggs from the original films, and introducing the franchise to a new generation, to a younger audience. Okay, now this is going to be where the second half of the review starts. This is where we're going to enter spoiler territory. So, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Ready? Okay. So, like I said, I really enjoyed this movie very much. I thought that the female lead, she looks like a little Egon. Just with the glasses, the hair, the facial expressions, the eyes. I don't know if this girl's been in any other movies, but she's clearly very talented. She really channeled Egon's granddaughter. She did a phenomenal job, and I think she's going to go on to do great things. Her brother, Finn Wolfhard. Finn Wolfhard is great on Stranger Things, but I think that in this movie, he was kind of underutilized. He didn't really have a whole lot to do, and neither did his so-called love interest. They were kind of just like side characters. They're just kind of there. Maybe there was some material that was left on the cutting room floor that'll be put back in some kind of extended home video release. I don't know, but and the rest of the cast was fine. You had Paul Rudd, who was kind of like a cross between like Peter Venkman and Louis Tully. By the way, that was the one actor that I wish had come back for this movie, Rick Moranis. I know that he's mostly retired from acting now, but that would have just been icing on the cake. They managed to get back everybody except for Rick Moranis, and I would have loved to have seen what his character would be up to at this point in the franchise. Of course, if you've seen the movie, everybody else was back. The original cast of the Ghostbusters was back, except for, of course, Harold Ramis, who passed away in 2014, I believe. But the CGI Egon was not something I was expecting. I kind of thought maybe like it would be a good plot device to use Harold Ramis's actual death in the movie, but I was worried that it would be distasteful, disrespectful, that it wouldn't look good. But they did a great job with the CGI Egon. It looked just like how he would have looked today if he was alive, probably. And it was pretty emotional, and seeing the reaction on the other Ghostbusters faces, the emotion, I think that was real. And it was really sad that Harold Ramis died before he had a chance to see this movie. He did get a chance to act in the Ghostbusters video game, but he didn't make it to this one. But he was there literally in spirit, and I thought that they did a great job having him act beyond the grave, and in a tasteful way. So as for the rest of the movie, of course, Dana Barrett came back, Janine came back. Um, all of the major players were there. Um, but I'm gonna say that the list of things that I would have changed about this movie is minuscule, but I will say that I wish that we have gotten a lot more from Ivo Shandor. Ivo Shandor was a villain who was teased in the first movie, but we didn't actually get to see in person. And finally, in the third movie, we do get to see him, and he's killed within 10 seconds by Gozer, who also comes back. I was not expecting that. I kind of wish they had, part of me wishes they had, put in another villain, but I mean, Gozer coming back was fine, and in a way, it kind of fills in a plot hole from the first movie in that all of the ghosts that the Ghostbusters defeated in the first two movies were trapped in the ghost traps. Gozer was not. He was never, or he or she or whatever. Uh, she was never actually trapped in a trap. So in a way, it kind of makes sense that she kind of just like, vaporized, and then she was just biding her time for decades until she had a chance to be revived. Um, and of course, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson came back. Uh, Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd look terrible. Ernie Hudson looks great. He barely looks like he's aged since Ghostbusters 2, which is incredible, probably because he's still acting, whereas the other two were mostly retired. But nonetheless, of course, the post-credit scene does tease the possibility of a sequel. Whether there will be one or not, I don't know. Something tells me that we're not going to see one, if there is one, for quite some time. Hopefully not another 30 years. I'll be almost 70 years old by then. um, but overall, yes. So if you haven't seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, see it. And, you know, it's. I will just close by saying one thing. The 2016 Ghostbusters reboot, it wasn't a good movie. It didn't deserve the hate that it got, which mostly came from a misogynistic place. But I feel like it could have been saved if they had just made it a spin-off instead of a full-on retcon of the franchise. And then maybe they could have had characters from the 2016 Ghostbusters interact with the cast from the other two movies. But of course, that's never going to happen now. But regardless, yes, if you're a Ghostbusters fan, see Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think you're going to really like it. And that's about it. So until next time, take care of yourself.